Hello, hello, hello. I am James Lee.
And I am Tasha Lee.
And we are
Elevate Marriages.
Yeah. This is...
Let me just say right off the top, right? I did not pick this song. I probably would have picked Salt and Pepper.
But when I put it on, she was just kind of jamming to it for a little while.
I mean, anybody who's in my generation, unfortunately or
has at least heard of it.
Some of you, and some of you don't.
All my saved friends probably haven't heard of it.
That's true, and don't look it up. Needless to say, I did not pick this song. Let me say that, number one. Like I said, I would have picked Salt and Pepper. That would have been a little more appropriate, I think. And two, be warned. Y'all know my husband is silly, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
We're just going to dive in, right? Let's talk about sex.
Sex, that's right. Get ready.
So, we have been going at the concept of the cake marriage, right? And it's important to have all the different things that go in the ingredients to make the cake, and then once you kind of get it and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is liken sex to a filling in the cake, right?
Not F-E-E-L-I-N-G, but
feeling.
No, I told y'all he was silly. Stop.
But a feeling.
Feeling like fruit filling or an extra icing, in the middle filling. Something like that. It is not necessary in the cake
to make it good.
But when you add it,
oh buddy,
and when it's right,
oh man,
I'm telling you,
bring it home, girl.
So that's what,
yes, sir.
So that is what we're talking. That's what we're talking about. It's more like the feeling, if we're gonna put it in the concept of this cake marriage, right?
Right, because initially, just looking at a cake, even if it has feeling, you don't see it, right?
Right.
And it really shouldn't be what draws you to the cake. The idea of the cake itself should just be, I like a piece of cake. I like to be a part of that.
Right.
Because, if somebody tells you there's feeling in there, you might be like, you're a little curious about it. But you're getting the cake because it's cake, feeling or not. Because it'll still be a cake without the feeling.
And if the cake is good...
See, I said feeling in there. You caught that? See?
Feeling.
I know, but I like feeling.
And if the cake is good... 9 out of 10, the feeling is going to be good too.
Right, absolutely.
I just haven't had a cake that I was like, this cake ain't all that, but the feeling was delicious. No. They really go together hand in hand, and they complement each other quite well. And that should be the same for sex and your marriage.
Absolutely. Because if you have too much feeling without cake, you probably can get sick. It probably make you sick.
Maybe.
If you got feeling and you don't have anything else to kind of cope with it, it won't be that great. I will say that there'll be a piece missing because you're just having a feeling. So with that said, we want to approach this from a biblical standpoint, because the marriage itself, we of course know, was put together by God, and that benefit, I'll call it, that bonus of the act of sex between a husband and a wife, that was given, to God, not only for procreation, but also for
given to us by God.
Given to us by God. I'm sorry. Not only for procreation, but also for enjoyment. Right? It was for us, to enjoy one another. So it should be held in very high regard, and not just passed out to just any Joe Blow on the street. It should be calculated to be preserved until you find that one that is your husband and or your wife.
And since this whole page, or what we do period, is called Elevate Marriages, we assume that's the case. So we will jump into what we like to call, or you call it this too, foreplay. But we're not talking about the foreplay when you're in the bedroom or...
No. It's the foreplay before you play.
Yeah, pretty much. And when we talk to people, or in our own relationship as well, this starts probably, if we want to start the day that way, the minute we wake up.
Right.
If that's the good morning sugar, if that's the let me make your coffee, if that's the I don't know.
I would say anything that would draw you closer together, right?
Absolutely.
So we have our thing that we do. We give a 30-second hug every day. We try to make sure that for 30 seconds we draw close to one another and we embrace. And it's
intimate,
not, right? But it's not intentionally to bring it to the act of sex. It's more to draw us closer to one another and kind of solidifying our unions, just knowing that we're closer. I'll grab her and she'll wrap her arms around me and we'll just embrace. Now, if you've never done this before, the first few seconds may feel a little bit awkward, but as you sit there and you're in, second 10 and then 15 and 20, and then by the time you hit 30 seconds, you almost don't want to let go because you're so close, you're in each other's intimate space, and that piece of it kind of heightens that feeling to where if you get to the point to where, in the bedroom, whenever it gets to that point. But as you layer on that foreplay, that's a piece of it, then it heightens the actual act of sex later on that evening or the daytime or whenever you feel like it.
They got it. I think everything can be considered foreplay. How you argue is how you make up. That rub on the back, just in the middle of the day, that, or, if you're at home together, that call in the middle of the day, he's at work, I'm at work, he just calls to say, hey, I want to see how you were doing. Can I take you to lunch today? When you get home, how was your day? The foot rub, all of that may not equate to sex that particular day, but trust me, it's leading up to something special.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's leading up to something real special.
Oh,
so
yes.
just to continue to do that, not with the intention of, oh yeah, she gonna give me some, here or there or whatever the case may be, not with those intentions, but with the intention of being closer to your spouse, of being more loving to your spouse, more understanding to your spouse, which leads up to like I said, I think better sex. It allows from a woman's aspect, which is all I can really relate to, right? It allows me the opportunity to be more vulnerable, open myself up more, be more relaxed, and I think that's what you want sex to be, uninhibited and to be able to give of yourself freely.
Yeah, it should be a place to where you can be free and trusting with each other because your body's not your own, right? That's what it says. So it should never be used as a pawn. I'm not going to give you any sex, or I'm not going to. You should never do that because that's not why it was created. Your body belongs to each other,
right?
So that's why you want to be careful with who. That's why it's a husband and a wife. So I know society has really kind of diminished the act of sex and the importance of it and how it should be revered. But it is between a husband and a wife. That's where it should be. So with that said, you want to make sure that it's utilized for its purpose. And doing the foreplay things, sending a little text message to kind of, get things, moving. The beauty of it all, when it all comes together and you finally get there, it can make for some enjoyable time.
I'm so proud of him. I'm really proud of him.
She tried to coach me through this. I'm trying to just stay within the lines.
And he is. He's doing a great job because you should have heard him before this video started.
It's okay. It's all right. So
the outtakes.
That's an important piece of it. Don't forget that sex shouldn't be all your marriage. If sex is that's it, then you probably
missing out on a whole lot.
You're missing some ingredients in your cake.
And if sex is the only thing in your marriage and you don't have the other ingredients that we've talked about, communication, trust, forgiveness, any of the things that we've talked about, you're missing out on sex too. Because you might be doing it. You probably really are doing it.
Yeah.
But boy, when I tell you, when you get all those other things, all those other ingredients together, how much better that sex is going to be. I can't even explain.
Absolutely.
Mind blowing, hair blowing,
And
whatever.
if you want to get a dive into God's eye about sex, read Song of Solomon. The man was about the words.
Oh yes.
Talk about foreplay. The way he described this woman. Now she had some words in there herself that talked about him and their part of their separation and wanting to be together and so on and so forth. But the words that he used to describe her as a palm tree and her breasts were like.
See?
And he wanted to climb that palm tree. He said it. He said it in there. Read it.
It's in the Bible.
Read it. It's in there. It is
He has a lot. He was very, very poetic and very creative in his description. And this is all before he touched her.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. All before he touched her, he had a true appreciation for who she was as a woman in every aspect of her as a woman. Her hair, her neck, her
skin.
ears, her skin. And he does talk about her breast and her navel and her, I don't know, probably knees and elbows too. But the fact that he had a pure appreciation for her before touching her, I think that just speaks volumes.
It
That's a
absolutely
turn on
does.
in itself.
It absolutely does. So again, it should be something that is a part of your cake marriage. Very, very, I would say very important
Right.
to have it. But if you don't have the other ingredients to go along with it, you're not having it to its potential. It could be so much better. Trust me, believe me, when it's uninhibited, when it's wherever you want to have it.
I don't know where that came from, but we're gonna end this conversation on that
Let me clear
note
this island off real
because
quick.
thank you very much again. We challenge you
Yes.
to make sure I don't know what else to say, that you're having good sex, that you're making sure you're incorporating all the other things that we've talked about so that you can have a better sex life.
Absolutely. One thing I want to add to this, keep it in your bedroom. It's no one else's business what you do in your bedroom. So just make sure that it's the marriage bed is undefiled and is also untold, because it's a husband and a wife, your intimate time, spend it, enjoy it. It's between you. Just make sure that you're doing it.
Enough said?
Yep.
All right.
I am James Lee.
I'm Tasha Lee.
And we will talk with you later on.
Later, Gators.